Hello everybody, it's Loryn. Welcome to my second vlog for It's a Transgender Life. This week's topic is what it means, at least to me, to be trans. To me, being trans means, well, actually I think I should start off saying what it doesn't mean for me to be trans. What it doesn't mean is I'm gonna abandon all these things that I used to do. It doesn't mean that because I was perceived as being a boy earlier and I played video games and that's commonly tied to being a boy, or I played sports. That doesn't mean I'm going to stop playing sports. It doesn't mean I'm going to stop doing these things that I love to do. It doesn't mean I'm going to stop playing music. It doesn't mean I'm going to stop anything that I used to do. I'm still going to do it. I'm just going to be doing it as a girl. It also means to me that I get to be who I want to be and who I've always wanted to be. Ever since I was a little kid, I've always known I was different from everybody else. I just didn't know what it was exactly. Well, I'm different in many ways. In terms of gender and in terms of sexuality, I've always known I was different from everybody else. At first, I just thought I was gay. Maybe that's it. Maybe I'm gay. I liked boys, so that must mean I'm gay, right? Not entirely true. I still liked girls, so I couldn't be gay. So I must be bisexual. I went bisexual for a while. That's how I identified. But it still didn't quite feel right. So then when I discovered pansexual, a more encompassing sexuality, I identified as being pansexual because it applied to me more than just being bisexual. But that still didn't quite feel like enough. I didn't feel that hole I had in trying to define myself because I was only addressing sexuality things. I had no clue about different genders. Because I was taught, I thought there was only male and female, boy and girl, he and she. In freshman year of high school, when I was really questioning myself, I discovered transgender. The term really stood out to me. I really liked how people were able to transition from one gender to another, not being bound by binary gender roles that society placed on everybody, and everybody has to adhere to these specific things that you do because you're born with specific genitalia. That didn't make sense to me. So being trans made so much sense to me. But just being trans still didn't quite feel like enough. From my experience, I'm not just transitioning from one to another. It's much more than that. After I discovered bigendered, that just made much more sense to me. Being both boy and girl, being both he and she. I prefer to use the pronouns she, and I prefer to be seen and thought of as a girl. But it doesn't faze me too much if somebody misgenders me, or sees me as a boy, or sees me as, or calls me he. It doesn't faze me too much. I don't know whether it's because I'm used to it, because I grew up for 17 years being called a boy, being called he, but as of right now, that's how I identify. It might change later, and it's most definitely going to change later, actually. It's as I discover more of who I am and discover things I don't like, or become more comfortable with whatever I discover about myself, because I'm only 18. I've only been around for 18 years. There's plenty more time for me to discover new things about myself and new things that I like, new things that I don't like. So, as of right now, my identification is a bigendered girl. I guess what I'm trying to say is how I identify as being trans, or my identification and my experiences are mine. And I'm not trying to tell you how being trans is supposed to feel. I'm not trying to tell you how your sexuality is supposed to be or how your gender is supposed to be. I'm just here to try to explain my points of view, and that there are several points of view within the LGBT community. Not one definition applies to everybody. That just doesn't work with anything. I'm also trying to say that things change and people mature and discover new things about themselves all the time. So you don't have to stick with one identification for your whole life. You can change your identification and you can change the way you see yourself. It's not a crime, obviously being trans, it's not a crime to change who you are. However, I think some people do see it like that, and that's their thing. Let them do that. Don't tangle with them. They're crazy. So yeah, those are my points of view. That's what I have to say about this. Be yourself. Don't let anybody else tell you what to be. Don't tell anybody else what to be. Your experience is your experience. My experience is my experience. I'm just here to provide another point of view. Maybe you do relate to this. Maybe you do like some of the things that I'm saying and wish to identify as that. Go right ahead. But don't do it because you think that I'm telling you that that's the way that it is. Because there are many different ways to be, to just exist. I guess I'm going to stop it on that then.